Welcome to the Maximize Business Value podcast, brought to you by Mastery Partners, where our mission is to equip business owners like you to maximize your business value and achieve the exit of your dreams, whatever that means to you. With insights gained from over 100 business transactions, we share real-world strategies, lessons, and expert advice to help you build long-term, sustainable value in your business. Each episode is hosted by one of our Mastery certified partners. They're seasoned experts who've helped countless business owners navigate the complexities of growth, scaling, and building value. They bring first-hand experience, actionable insights, and a passion for helping you build a business that thrives. So let's dive in.
Well, good afternoon and welcome to the Maximize Business Value podcast. Kind of a special edition today where we're here to introduce Scott Couchenour, who you had met before, I think, throughout the Mastery Partners process. But there's been a kind of a change of state that we want to talk about today. So, Scott, welcome.
It's great to be here, Dave.
Yeah,
Glad to talk
great
with
to
you.
be here with your new title. So,
That's right. Yeah. New business card.
Yeah, very cool. So not that you gave up your old title, but Scott is now a certified mastery, certified partner within the Mastery Partners world. And so we want to dig into a little bit why that came about and kind of what's going on with that. So Scott, let's step back a little bit and look at, how did you get engaged with the Business Transition Summit and Mastery Partners?
Well, it's an interesting story. Tom Bronson and I are trying to figure out how we connected, maybe through a mutual friend who introduced us, or it was a random reach out on LinkedIn. But it would have been July of 23, I believe, that we had a phone call. We had a Zoom call just like this. And Tom shared a bit about his businesses, and I shared what I was doing. And he said something really profound, at least to me. And he said, you do what we don't. He said, we get the business ready for an owner for the owner to exit on their terms. You help get the owner ready.
Wow.
And that was a distinction between the business and the owner. And I guess it was a couple of months later, he asked me to speak at the summit down in Westlake, Texas in May of 24.
Yeah.
So
that was our second summit, I think, in the Dallas area. Yeah.
That's right. And a fantastic experience. Got to share my story, and the the unwanted, unplanned exit that I experienced and what I learned through that and why I do what I do with business owners. And so that led to another summit I spoke at in Little Rock, Arkansas later in that same year. And then just continue to do work. And I think it was the Austin, Texas summit that I spoke at here in 2025. I had some thought on the plane home from Austin about all that Mastery Partners was doing. I kind of took a look at the three companies, the Business Transition Summit that educates business owners, and then Mastery Partners that does the work to elevate the business, and then of course North Star Mergers Acquisitions helps execute the sale if that's what the business owner wants to do. And it began to intrigue me a little bit.
Yeah.
And I thought, if I could get involved in helping business owners increase or elevate their value, then it would be a way of introduction into the personal planning for what they're going to do post exit. So I can add some elements to the Mastery Partner value. And I reached out to Tom, and we had a talk. And long story short, I said, I think I'm ready to join the team and do this kind of stuff. So
well, we're blessed that you made that decision because
I appreciate
it
that.
definitely is a great fit. And the word you used is funny. It's the same word I used when I first started working with Tom, is that I was intrigued.
Yes.
And it was interesting because I had went through, as you did, I went through the idea of being owner of a business and CEO of a business, and preparing the business for exiting, and then stepped into the consulting world a bit, and as many do. Now, some friends of mine that have done that, I said, "So you're consulting?" And they very confidentially go, "Well, it's kind of a front for retirement, it's that kind of deal." So, in my case, and I think in your case, it's not a front for retirement. It's really what we
Mhm.
love to do,
Yeah.
and work with other folks. And I know that's the reason Tom founded Mastery Partners. Is he has been very successful through a series of building businesses and exiting them, and really looked for an opportunity to share what he'd learned through all that process with business owners that are just coming up. And they may be longtime 30-year business owners, or they may be somebody that's been in their business 3 or 4 years and
Mhm.
is looking to exit the business for a particular reason. So,
Mhm.
and I think all the certified mastery partners, I think, add their special touch to that. And I'm so grateful that you're aboard, because what you do is very unique. And I think that
Yeah.
was, Tom put it well, in that your consulting you've been doing is really focused around the business owner themselves, not so much about the mechanics of the business.
Mhm.
And we are at Mastery Partners. That's a part of what we do, but certainly, and the two are normally tightly entwined.
Right.
But certainly, uh, I tend to focus more on business process and improving
Mhm.
that, maximizing value, all with an eye to, does it make the owner less anxious, happier, more,
Mhm.
give them back more time, give them a little bit of peace, and all those good
Mhm.
things. So, and
Yeah.
all that ties in well with what you do. So,
Well, one of the things that helped make the decision for me was that there are some growth methodologies out there, and there's some there's some helpful companies out there. But what drew me to Mastery Partners was it was encased in the story
yeah,
of how Mastery Partners came about, and it was very organic, very actual experience, and reflecting on that experience that Tom had with the 100 businesses and the transactions.
yeah,
And it was more organic, and it was more, I would say, pit that up against an academic approach, where it was not academic, it was more real world experience reflected upon. And that to me is so rich
yeah,
in methodology. and I love the idea, the concept, and actually the reality that when a business owner can increase the value of their business, they increase the options that they have personally,
yes,
right?
yeah,
And I've heard stories of business owners who have engaged with Mastery Partners have, with the intent that they were going to sell. So I got to get this thing ready so that I can't stand the life I live. I want to get this thing so I can sell it.
yeah,
Well, you get going into it and you begin to develop a better run company, and then you revisit that sale, that exit date, and the owner says, "Wait a minute, let's hold off a little bit. I'm
yeah,
kind of enjoying what I'm doing now." Well, see that, you've increased the value, now you've increased the options.
yeah.
And those are two underlying things about Master Partners that drew me to it.
Yeah, and what struck me too is, having gone through the process. Um, I had actually looked probably 5 years before I sold my company. I worked with a valuation firm,
Mhm.
and just to get an idea what the company was worth. I'm at this point, I'm not even sure if that valuation was a true market valuation. They certainly had a formula that they followed to come up with it. We provided lots
Mhm.
of financial data, lots of customer data, industry data, so on and so forth. And then but the next step for me was, the way you do this is you start the process. That you engage with a investment banker, or a
Mhm.
broker of some sort, someone that's going to help you sell your business.
Right.
And there were a lot of missing pieces that I didn't
Yeah.
realize were missing. So, and so we just had to work through a lot of that and so on. And there wasn't, there wasn't a source out there for advice that I think was just focused on, let's just make the business better. And the term that I've started using, that I stole, I've got to give full credit to the folks over at Founders, who is an investment bank, is making the company investment grade. Whether you
Okay.
actually seek an investor or you seek to sell it, or you seek for outside capital, whatever, doesn't matter if you actually do that or not. But the company is investment grade. Somebody would
Mhm.
actually loan you money or buy into your company because it's run that well.
That's right.
And that's really our goal, I think, with our clients.
Yeah.
And I fully agree with you that the um, the outcome of that is you are happier and less anxious as a business owner, and you do have a lot more options in front of you than you thought you did.
Yeah.
And in my case, I just thought the only way I can actually realize value out of my company is to sell it. And
Hmm.
in retrospect, I might have been able to let it run for quite a bit with a strong team I built and become more or less a passive owner. I mean, not
Hmm.
actively day to day in the business,
Right.
which would have afforded me the opportunity to either start another business or do something different,
Hmm.
and but not have to sell the company.
Right.
Um, and so that's the beauty, I think, of what we do when we talk to people. We're not focused on a transaction, and many
Right.
of the folks that business owners talk to are, and
Hmm.
so they kind of get pushed down this path, and it's
Right.
like
Right.
you get a little momentum and steam behind you, and it's like we can't stop this train. It's
Yeah.
gonna.
And I wonder if that's what contributes to. There's a survey that Exit Planning Institute has put out, and it's indicating that 75% of business owners who have sold their businesses within the first year uh, would proclaim themselves to be profoundly dissatisfied, and it
Oh,
wasn't because of the money, but because of there was no personal planning. There was no what are you going to do afterward? Well, I'm wondering if the focus is on the transaction itself
yeah,
solely, like that's what drives everything is this transaction, then it's no wonder
yeah,
that the owner gets kicked out of the whole thing. And when the sale takes place, it's Monday morning. All of a sudden, all the business cards are worthless. There's no
yeah.
phone calls, there's no email messages, and all of a
Nope.
sudden there's silence, right? Because
Yeah,
the transaction was the heart and soul of the process.
yeah,
Well, the thing I love about Mastery Partners is the owner is the heart and soul of the entire process. And man, that resonates with me big time.
yeah, yeah. That is so true. A good friend of mine has just authored a book. I don't even think it's been released yet. And he went through that. He built and sold his business, and he'd helped many other business owners over the years. He worked in the home services world, so he helped many home services businesses, consulting to them and helping them grow their business. In fact, his business was an association of those kind of folks that
Okay.
provided all kinds of information and resources and everything for HVAC, electrical, plumbing, and those kind of guys. And and when he sold his company, it was a very deliberate sale. It wasn't anything he rushed into. He said, "It's time is right. I'm going to do this," and they went through that. Of course, it took a while to do, and very successful exit. But he said the emptiness he felt immediately following that he had never anticipated.
Right.
That how do I measure my self worth?
Right.
Because he's always been this like industry guru, and always asked
Hmm.
to provide keynote speeches and author books and do things like that having to do with the business,
Yeah.
and suddenly all that just ground to a halt.
Yeah.
And
And the process that we work with as mastery partners is we have an opportunity to have conversations throughout the process
yeah,
that helps to get them thinking ahead of time
sure,
about vocational options, let alone the options to transition. It's just so common to think of it as a transaction and an exit when it's
yeah,
really a transition with a potential launch pad. It's
yeah,
actually something that can position the owner so much better off. In the coaching that I do for the personal planning, um, I I firmly believe that the fourth quarter, if you took an 80 to 90-year-old life and broke it into four quarters, the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s,
Yeah.
that's the fourth quarter. I believe you can have more impact in your fourth quarter than all three prior quarters combined,
Oh, yeah.
especially if you have a transition, because you'll have more resources than ever before, more
Yep.
time than ever before, and you have all the wisdom and knowledge from the years of experience,
Yep.
and you have a sense of urgency because in the fourth quarter, you're more aware of the brevity of life. So I think
Yeah.
we can create such great impact in the fourth quarter. And if we can free our business owners from the business details and make it investment grade, then they have those options to make that amazing impact in their
Yeah.
fourth quarter and live their legacy, not just leave it for someone else, but they can
Yeah.
actually experience the legacy being handed over. That's exciting to me.
Yeah, that is, and that reminds me, it's interesting that Tom, as we mentioned, Tom Bronson, for the last couple of years has been a member of Strategic Coach,
Hmm.
which is a organization that's run by
Dan Sullivan.
Dan Sullivan,
Yeah.
and he met Dan. He goes to the meeting that meets in Chicago, and actually met
Okay.
Dan one time when he was up there, and had a great conversation with him, and said, I'm enjoying this. I'm loving what I'm learning and everything. And he said, so Dan, Dan, what are your plans? You're getting up there a little bit. And
Hmm.
Dan was like, he says, I'm looking back, I've accomplished much more between the age of 70 and 80 than I did in the previous, 60 years before that.
Yeah.
So he says, I see, I'm just looking forward to the next decade because maybe I can
Yeah.
do that again,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. A
and
fantastic view.
yeah, it really is. And that's, of course, you talk about the abundance mindset and things like that,
Hmm.
but having that view on life that, wow, I'm just getting started, I've
Hmm.
got more to contribute. And certainly I love your term, living your legacy versus leaving your legacy.
Right. Right.
And I'm going to steal that. I'm going to start
Take
to
it.
accomplish that one.
Yeah.
As I mentioned to you earlier, before we started the call, I met with a business owner last night that he's a relatively young fellow. He's got a heck of a business. He is strung out. He's working his tail off, and
Hmm.
too many things flow through him.
Hmm.
So it's kind of a classic case, and for him to take a step back and try to look at how do I get out of this thing, and I think the one of the things you look at is how do I get out of this company because this company is killing me. Well, that's not
Right. Right.
really maybe what needs to happen, and maybe it just needs to how do I get out of the cycle I'm in and build
Absolutely.
the company so that it's I'm the dog wagging the tail, not the other way around. So,
Right. Right. Yes. So often when we're stressed in the business, we automatically think the business is the enemy.
yeah,
And so we got to separate ourselves from the enemy when in fact, like you said, it's the process that is
yeah,
the enemy. And hold up, let's not throw out the baby with the bathwater. Let's
yeah.
separate those and take care of one thing, and then we'll see if letting loose of the business is still the best option.
Yeah, and in this case, I was meeting with the owner and his wife, and many times the spouse sees the business as the enemy, even though it
Yeah.
is, it's providing income for the family, it's building their personal wealth, and so on and so forth. But there's a tremendous cost there,
Mhm.
unless it's managed properly.
Well, we can't ignore two elements. One is the quantity, and that
Mhm.
is the income that we derive from a business. But then there's also quality, and we've
Yeah,
got to, when you have a lot of quantity and not a lot of quality, then I've heard it termed negative profit. You're
yeah,
profiting, your business is running like it's just making money hand over fist, but you have a crumbling family life
yeah, yeah,
and things are falling through the cracks. And so we've got to it's not a matter of just drop this quantity down to zero so we can have it, but it's finding that right balance and that right mix
yeah, yep.
and the
And
process that
it's
we go through.
Yeah,
makes that
we
happen.
have in another nonprofit I'm involved with, we have an actual psychiatrist that comes in and talks about that. And he saw it within his colleagues, his peers in the psychiatry world.
Hmm.
But he said it's the term. He says, "Don't make your family pay twice.
Right.
Don't make them the victim of your success. That you feel like you have to be so involved on a day to
Hmm.
day, moment to moment with your business that you can't go on vacation without your
Right.
business phone. And
Right.
you're sneaking away from your kid's soccer match to do a conference call or that kind of
Right.
stuff.
Right.
So it's
which
really
which happens on occasion, right? That's occasionally, but
yeah,
when it's something that is just a way of doing life, then it's yeah, it
yeah,
can be a dangerous thing.
yeah. It is tough, very tough. So do that. Well, man, we are just, as I mentioned before, blessed to have you on the team, and
I'm honored to be here.
yeah, it will be wonderful. It also gives us some geographic reach because we're
Yeah.
based in the Dallas Fort Worth area, and
Hmm.
you're in Northeast Ohio. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yep.
Although your
Northeast
clients,
Ohio,
I'm
West
sure, are
Virginia.
nationwide, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's great to be in a virtual world.
It,
So,
it is. It is. There are always opportunities with setbacks, and one of the opportunities that COVID generated for the coaching industry was
yeah,
that it made meetings like this, like you and I are having, much more mainstream and acceptable.
yes,
So it has now there's some downside,
yep,
we love to we love to go face to face
yeah,
because
yeah,
it's that human connection. But absent that, we can augment face to face with Zoom a lot,
yeah,
or with Meet
definitely,
or Teams or whatever. So much more prevalent these days. And
yep,
we don't
yeah.
have to be like, I wouldn't have to be away from my spouse as often,
See,
right? If I can
yeah,
work with somebody in New Mexico or Florida, I'm not traveling there,
yep,
and so I can be home. So there's some
yeah.
upsides and downsides.
Yeah, true. I missed the bubble by that much because I used to sell video conferencing technology, and
Gee.
we were very successful with it. Although even at the end, so I sold my company in 2012, and I stayed on for a few years. So let's say even by 2015,
Hmm.
it's still there was some PC based or desktop based video. A lot of it was still conference room to conference room type stuff.
Hmm.
And those were like $50,000 per conference room
That's right.
sales.
That's right.
And even though it's funny because the industry kind of fought moving it to the desktop because it's a little bit less expensive to do it on the desktop.
Right.
What they failed to see, and a few people, smart people like Zoom, did see is, oh wow,
There's a
yes, it
lot of
is a lot less
desktops.
expensive, but many millions more people will employ it and use it.
That's right. That's right.
So the technology has gotten better to match the requirements. So that
Yeah.
that has been great. But yeah, I actually know a couple of folks that founded Zoom, and they said I'm so gratified for their success. They've done well. So
Yeah.
definitely put
Well, market
right place,
timing
right
is a
time.
big deal.
Yes, definitely so. Definitely
Yeah.
so. Well, great. It's and you've shared a little bit of your philosophy and stuff and excitement about mastery and certainly I think one of the great things that I see with mastery partners is that we are industry agnostic, and we're even agnostic to the outcome of what
Yes.
happens as we work with a business owner. We're not
Mhm.
focused on an exit. It could be that the business runs better and the owner can more or less run it passively, or it may be positioned very well to be passed on to a key employee group or even within a family.
Mhm.
And many times, we've talked to business owners that, yeah, I've got this great business. I'd love I've got a son and a daughter working in the business, love to pass it on to them. And we'll
Mhm.
ask those critical questions. Well, are you fully confident they could run the business? Oh my gosh, no. So
Right.
it's like,
Right. Are you kidding me?
yeah, and you've been in a family business, so you
Sure.
probably understand those dynamics much better than I
Mhm.
do even, and,
Mhm.
I do remember when I considered selling my company, my boys were still in high school, and, one had just gotten into college, and I said, "Would you guys ever consider taking over this company?" "Absolutely not," they were not interested, and I think part of that was they looked at the amount of time I spent away from home running a
Mhm.
business.
Yeah.
and that they said, well, whatever that is, I don't want to do that.
Right.
So,
Right.
so,
Right.
and I feel
That's
like,
true.
man, that might have been a failure on my part
Well,
to, you know,
that's another thing that is appealing to me with the Mastery Partners way is that the phrase "on your terms."
yes,
The agnostic to the outcome. We're doing it on your terms. What that tells me, when I translate that through my experience, what that's saying is we are more interested in aligning you to the stage of life you're in,
yeah,
aligning your business to where you're at, so that it's not about an exit, although that could be one
yeah,
of the options. But it's really at the heart and soul, in my view, is what we do with our business owners is we take them through this process with the intent that we are aligning the business. It's like a vocational alignment for them,
yeah,
so that they can, because listen, I believe the statistic, it's 100% of business owners will transition one day, right?
yeah,
um, and why is that? Well, it's because none of us stays the same age
no,
all our lives. We go through stages of life, and we get older and we get older, and
yeah,
so there is an impending misalignment if we're not careful. And that could be not just age related, but also what we talked about with the person who is running ragged, and it's
yeah,
a successful business but it's running right. That's a misalignment, right?
yep,
So we want to create a better alignment
yeah,
to the business owner's life. So that's exciting to me, and that's one of the reasons I pulled the trigger.
yeah. Well, and it dovetails so well with your current consulting practice,
Mhm.
and I think
Right.
most folks know that most of our mastery partners are not exclusively consulting with mastery partners. They also are working, they have their own consulting business, maybe
Mhm.
in a specialty. A good example is Terry Chevalier that works with us.
Mhm.
He is super well known in the telecom world. He's
Mhm.
done strategic planning with all the top, telcos out there, internet service providers, and that whole world. But he sees within that world the need for what mastery does. There are independent wireless carriers out there that are not the AT&Ts and T-Mobiles of the world, not public corporations, but they are regional, owner-led businesses where those guys have all the same challenges that we just talked
Right.
about. And
Mhm.
so he's applying both his industry knowledge and connections he has there along with the mastery way. So
Mhm.
it's a great fit. And
Right.
so yeah, I'm excited about the next several years actually, because there's with AI, with all these other changes that are impacting businesses, business owners are going to be bombarded with a lot of different challenges,
Yes.
and we fully
Yes.
intend to be there to help them.
Right. Right.
Help them address those. Well, super. It's been great getting together with you.
Right.
So looking forward to
Yeah.
our future engagements as we do things, and
Yeah.
this the every one of us is an individual, but just the way that you speak and the way that you communicate with people is so I don't know what the term is, reassuring.
Oh, I'm
It's just
honored.
an excellent manner that you conduct yourself, and which I think is going to resonate so well, or resonate so well with our client companies and business owners. So
Well, I
appreciate you
appreciate
being
that.
on board.
Thank you
Yeah,
very much. Thanks
you
very
bet,
much.
you bet.
Yeah.
Well, with that, this has been a, like I said, very unique version of the Maximize Business Value broadcast or podcast. I do want to say that each of our partners will be hosting these podcasts, so you won't have to listen to Dave Casey all the time or Tom Bronson, as much as we love to listen to Tom Bronson.
Yeah. Right. Right.
But yeah, look, stay tuned, and we'll have all types of new faces and new ideas, but with the same underlying goal. We're just helping business owners maximize the value that's locked up in their business so that they can make decisions and transition on their time frame and on their terms.
Right. Right.
Scott, thanks again. And with that, we're signing off of the Maximize Business Value podcast.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Maximize Business Value podcast. I hope today's conversation sparked new ideas on how you can continue driving value in your business. But remember, it's not just about listening. It's about taking massive action. Visit our website, masterypartners.com, for more resources. Grab a copy of any of the books in the Maximize Business Value series on Amazon or via the links below. And don't hesitate to reach out if you want to know how to apply these concepts to your business. So until next time, I'm Tom Bronson, reminding you to relentlessly execute while you maximize business value.